So this is a piece about how I always seem to get on better with my girlfriends after we split up. It's called I Want You to Be My Ex. I want you to be my ex, yet we've barely met. Your goodbye kiss on my cheek is still wet, yet I stress if I should end our first text with an X. Because I overthink things, especially when these lines blur like comic book artists that over-ink things. And though I have always found emoticons an emotional con, for whatever reason I hacked it. Got all smiley and put the colon to the bracket till eventually we're courting like when the ball hits the racket, yet still I want you to be my ex. Now, even though yesterday we had that first good date where everything flowed easy like a burst floodgate, and even though we're in second gear climbing like a BMX, it's just these things never end well. Like Malcolm X. Yet soon we're a couple getting carried away like two train carriages coupled going that way. And with each station, the same one I tried to stay strong but remain an adversary to anniversary. I know this sounds pessimistic, but I'm a realist. See it all before me in black and white like a pianist. Not trying to sound bitter, it's just always the spark fades like park glades in winter. So I want you to be my ex. Now, please don't think this is just flimsy commitment issues. I just eventually see you crying and me as a toad. That's Kermit with tissues. Bad puns aside, what happens is a ride, a roller coaster in which the loops come first and then there's that slow, crunching climb. And as the weeks blur by, in my third eye, here's us meeting the parents, here's us sharing food, here's meetings to help pay the rent, here's us in bed sharing the flu, no longer sure quite what to do. That's not to say love has no good sides, it's a dice of all sixes, but for me it's a sickness, one I have been taught I never want you to have caught. So I want you to be my ex. Because then, maybe, one day we can meet. First, share a stare across a crowded street, then that shared stare can lead to shown teeth, moving feet, perhaps even a shared seat. And there, of course, we'll commit a sexual autopsy. But whenever I bite a lip or you bat a lid, it is just a catalyst as we mend this into a friendship, because I want you to be my ex.
Jay everyone, come on, give it up for Jay. It was his first time. That was amazing. It was amazing. So yeah, thanks for kicking us off, Jay, and welcome to What They Said. As you can see, we've got a very expensive, fancy sign hanging behind you there. It's brilliant. And can we just get a raise of hands for how many people have been here before? Oh wow, okay, about half, that's really good. We've got very few rules here. You have 3 minutes. You can fit as many poems as you want in, but people normally do one, like Jay there. Please turn your phones off. Please no fidgeting. And no clicking. This is a form of self-expression. It's not an ICT support office. So that would be...
And from a first timer to an old timer, give it up for Wills.
Right, thank you very much. Now, this one's a new one, so any dramatic pauses are entirely on purpose. We are so different. I'm sometimes deliberately belligerent, often barely literate, yet you are the difference, so considerate and driven, because this is just a position, but I feel that juxtaposition is the crux of the decision when lusting for women. For men too, this is something to ferment to, but as it's this dumb tongue singing, this goes out to women. One in particular. One that up here on this mic has more presence than St. Christopher, who on a scale of 1 to 10 I would call her my Prime Minister. She is the village to my inner pillager. Yet when we first met, I was so nervous and quiet it no doubt seemed sinister. It was on the train, you remember? Oh, that moment! I wish I could have held it down right there and groped it, tied it up and eloped with it. All that time I thought I was fine, living the high life, one of hope, but my life was so unclean and you were the soap. I wasn't ready for you. Normally I'm so calm, but my palms, they wouldn't steady for you. All my life, I'd been moving around too much, like clock hands forever in a circle that never saw dust. My first sight of you floored me, left my legs feeling like sawdust. I was willing to die for you, like in the game Sword does. Before, I didn't want the one. I wanted to want. You were the puzzle piece that I never knew I needed, the one that falls from nowhere and then suddenly the picture's completed. Now I feel that you are a part of me. Keep me alive like an artery, hit me bullseye, it's archery, even though you often make an arse of me. This isn't just to pass the time, these similes are a part of me. This is honesty, not poetry. We should stay the same. Everyone is focused on change, but that'll just happen anyway. Every time I wake with you, it just feels like a beautiful day to stay the same. When I hear you murmuring in the morning as the dark begins to drain, it just feels like a beautiful day to stay the same. You are so beautiful, Ellie. I just want this to stay the same.
The delicate clues we hide at the back of the shelf. The things we cannot say. Thanks.
The standard's just so good tonight. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, there you go. Now, this isn't something I usually do, but as Jessica was so open last time, I thought, why not? Give it a shot. It's called Your New Name, and it's about when you break up with someone, it isn't always as final as it seems. There's always cargo left, bits of you that don't let go because certain things you just can't. It was strange to watch you abbreviate over time. 3 years, 4 months, cut down to size. I know both your middle names and the patron saint you're confirmed in, but now you're just him. Represented by a crude sign, just that guy. Still on you I could write the report, chronicle the empty plates on your bedroom floor the way you were before. Name all the Berlin Wall of posters piled against your door, your love of horror, yet fear of gore, that time your mum saw was in your bottom drawer. Now it's been a year or more, and it still makes me retch. But on Mastermind you'd have to be my specialist subject. And I still remember the way you liked your toast cooked, your dad's darts trophy your baby brother sucked, the 3 moles arranged perfectly on your left foot. I could draw a constellation of your freckles and chart the contours of your chest, those curved caverns where my fingers would rest. But it's a useless cartography, as is my knowledge of your biography, your biology, your favourite type of pornography. Ultimately, I know your essential ontology, but there are no feelings left. Just stats and facts I can't forget. A mental debt that won't let me rest. I know your laptop password, like a nerd, the video games you preferred, COD and Skyrim and... God, what came third? It doesn't matter. I know it's absurd what you've heard and inferred from this blurred blurb. It's nothing like him. It says nothing about the touch of his skin. But these twin sins of knowing things and stowing things, it stings. And I'm not asking you to get out the violin. It's just These thoughts surrounding me are hounding me like a devil's halo. They're bounding me, and halo, that's it. Last game on my list. I didn't ever play it, but I say it knowing that you did. And maybe you're doing fine, but this is new to me. My memories being held to mutiny, crowding my mind. They fight and shout, and though my brain is in this dizzying spin, I still remember the numbers to your pin: 4, 3, 2, 1. 4, 3, 2, 1. I often wonder what I was doing with someone whose card number was so idiotically intuitive. Couldn't it have been an anniversary? Or a birthday? You did. I wonder if there's things about me that you have forgotten. Indeed, I hope there are things about me that you have forgotten. But I'm sure you shifted, changed. No one stays the same. They grow, rearrange. Mine's a useless pain. Maybe now you hate those games. Maybe you go by a different nickname. Maybe you've got a new favourite pub, but I definitely know that you're no longer in love. You're that guy that used to love me. That's your new name. It used to be Daniel, but it can't stay the same.
Come on, girls. Come on.
Did you have like honestly Mum, I can't remember.
You warmed up? Yeah. It's what they said. It's part 2. Come on.
You're all a bit obsessed with love, aren't you? Well, try some hate. Of course you don't trust Cameron, but little Johnny's your guide. If it's printed in the paper, then it's gospel in your eyes. Journalists should be kept away from keyboards like children are kept away from matches. Or we'll all end up getting burnt by the sun and end up with another Thatcher. I'd send a message to Murdoch, but he doesn't want to hear my mum.
To guarantee he learns of it, I'll leave a message on your answer phone. The press. If you want the news of the world express, undressed, in amongst the page 3 breasts, then you've probably guessed, look no further than the newsagent to stay abreast. We all know broadsheets are the best. There's no contest when it comes to the rest. The best digest of the blessed mess of who's been caressed and who to detest.
The Daily Mail, that daily fail. That rails against dark-skinned males and political white whales with tall tales of cushy jails and the terrorists behind every veil.
I read it like a bad novel. First as a tragedy, then as a farce. What is wrong with this country?
The answer depends on who you ask. Perhaps immigrants are ruining us, but Australians aren't so bad. And Canadians and Americans, what do they have?
And Canadians and Americans, what do they have? What about gay marriage? Perhaps that's to blame, because we all know rights are a zero-sum game. They get married, your life falls apart. The answer here is clear. The reason your wife left you is all those bloody married queers. Abortion hope, after gay gene finding. That's a real headline. I looked it up myself. If nothing else, the Daily Mail is a great parody of itself. Oh, what about the banks, you ask? That's all blown over now. Bonus culture's back on form. Socialism's death knell. The unemployed are lazy. They love it on the dole. They get flat screens and mansions, at least that's what I'm told.
It seems the system's broken. There's been poverty and riots.
and to read about that on page 12 after some celeb's new diet. I'm waiting for the revolution. Though it seems a long time coming. What will it take? WikiLeaks? Snowden? Another Bradley Manning? The language of the unheard? It's all Greek to me. To stay in the know, tweet what you sow because it's not on national TV.
And that is when I would revert back to that stammering surf. Thank you. Hugo, everyone. Good to see him back. Good to see him back. Right, now we have our penultimate performer upon us. He's called Young Sponge.
He calls himself a legend. I would say he's more of a myth, to be honest. But he's a great guy. You know him. I know him. We both regret it. So give it up for Young Sponge, everyone. Young Sponge.
Evening. Right, this one is called Present from My Auntie.
Yeah.
Glad to see some people know it. Right, forget the words, give me a hand. You can catch a train to catch up with friends. Go catch a film and recommend. Can you catch what I'm saying when I talk quickly like this?
Get out. Have fun, if you catch my drift. You can catch a cricket match.
And go catch some lads catching each other out. You might as well. You'll try and catch them by surprise in the dressing room and try to catch a glimpse so soon. But don't get too hot and bothered or you'll just catch fire. You can catch anything you desire. You can catch a ball. You can catch a cold. You can even catch a lion if you're bold. You can catch your toe on the skirting board, but you will never catch me in that jumper. It's really horrible. Cheers.
Young Sponge, everyone. Brief, but always treasure. Always treasure. Now, unfortunately, we've come to the end of what they said, or at least, you can say art, by the way. You can say natural, I like that. Yeah, we basically came to the end now, apart from one last poet. So I'd just like to say thank you, everyone, for coming. And remember, this is a fortnightly night. I've seen some new faces here. I just want to remind you that it's every 2 weeks. And not the next one, but the one after that, we have a very, very special foreign guest. Yeah. From Europe. I know, right? But, yeah, thank you so much for coming again. And to close us off, we have someone who doesn't perform here very regularly, which is a very, very talented poet. We're very, very lucky to have her. Can I hear a big applause for Ellie, please?
My virginity in front of 20 people. Maybe more. It's a bit blurry, but I know that you were there. I know because I got up from that very chair at first and aware that coming up here isn't just about spinning stories with rhymes stitched into the seams or swapping out a rhythm like a dance routine. No, this is about those speaking, being heard, about seeing things. Hearing and disagreeing with things, acknowledging them out loud and just being with things, because up here there's no fleeing from things. I was so nervous. It looked so painful, sounded it too. Seems so silly now, but I really did feel that I would be different after that. After that first experience, my childhood, I would outgrow it. No longer a girl, I'd be a poet. When I first came here, I would have rather removed a tumour the size of a tuba than put my name down on the list that was passed around. I pushed it away with a tumour. But then someone went up first, and I began to thirst, and the next night couldn't come sooner. So then, I was up there, putting the mic to my lips and feeling the words charge up through my hips. I start to slip, my thoughts charge out from my mouth into the microphone, and it's here I realised that poetry is better than sex. Sometimes. People often compare the two, but it's depressing how these differing disciplines have merged and twinned into a dizzying dismissal spin. I'll take intonation and personification over that formless mess of gratification any day. Infatuation only leads to insemination and fornication, and there's none of that beauty or the extravaganza of the stanza, mainly just trying to figure out where your hands go. My perversity is linguistic diversity. So whether you're a boy or a girl, I'm a voyeur, watching and listening.
Honey, you wrote the scenes that I wanted to see. Honey, you told the tales that I wanna believe. You excite my soul. You have from the start. Honey, you are the moonlight shining bright in the dark. So honey, whisper some wisdom into my life for a glistening kingdom where we spend our time.